You are welcome to another session of our online learning program. We are discussing social studies for JHS2. Social studies for JHS2. In the past weeks, we have been looking at entrepreneurship, and this will be our last subtopic for discussion on entrepreneurship. We are looking at state-owned enterprises and private enterprises. State-owned enterprises and private enterprises. State-owned enterprises and private enterprises. Social studies for JHS2. By the end of the lesson, the student should be able to differentiate between state-owned enterprises and private enterprises, should be able to explain why private sector is efficient than public sector businesses in Ghana, should be able to highlight the role of government to support private businesses, and also the children or the student should be able to identify the role of private sector to ensure continuous survival. This should be your objective throughout the lesson, so that by the end of the lesson, you should be able to assess yourself based on this. If you're able to do all this, then indeed, you have paid attention and you have gained something from today's lesson. Great. Quickly, we have already looked at state-owned enterprises and private enterprises as defined. But as a reminder, a state-owned enterprise is an organization which is owned and managed by the state through an act of parliament. So, any organization that is established through an act of parliament and is owned and managed by the state is a state-owned enterprise. Then private enterprises are businesses that are owned and managed by individuals or groups of private individuals, whether it be a sole proprietorship, a partnership, a joint stock company, or any other form of business, provided that it is owned and managed by individuals or groups of private individuals, then we can say that it is a private enterprise. So, having known or having described private enterprise and then state-owned enterprises, now let's look at the differences between the two. Differences between private and state-owned enterprises, and we will take it one after the other. So, mode of formation is the first place where, or the first area where they differ. State-owned enterprises are formed through acts of parliament, whilst private enterprises are set up by private enterprise or individuals. Ownership and control is another area in which these two enterprises differ. State-owned enterprises are owned and controlled by the state, whilst private enterprises are owned and controlled by individuals. Then, in the area of their role and purpose, state-owned and private enterprises differ. State-owned enterprises provide essential services at low cost, and that is their role and purpose. But private enterprises are purposefully for profit maximizing. They are profit maximizing oriented. So they produce goods and services to make profits, and that is their purpose. Whilst state-owned enterprises provide essential services at low cost. Leadership is another area where the two differ. State-owned enterprise is managed and controlled by board of directors, whilst private enterprise is managed by the owner or a management team. Then finally, profit and loss distribution is another area. Losses are borne by the states and profits are paid into a special fund called the Consolidated Fund. That is for state-owned enterprises. But for private enterprises, profits or losses are borne by the owners of the firm. So, when there is a loss, it is borne by the owner. When there's a profit, it is borne by the owner. But for state-owned enterprises, when there's a loss, it is borne by the state. And when there are profits, these profits are paid into the consolidated fund of the state. I hope you can clearly differentiate between private and state state-owned enterprises. Now, here we have stipulated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 differences. If there are any, maybe you have to refer to your, if there are any more, you have to refer to your textbooks or go to the internet to search for more. Alright, now in Ghana, it is observed, and this is factual, that private sector is more efficient than public sector. Private sector businesses are doing well than the public sector or the state-owned enterprises. And what are the reasons? It's because of the following. Not limited to the following, but the following are also part of the reasons why private businesses are more efficient than state-owned businesses. Private businesses provide better conditions of service. Their working environment, their remuneration or pay systems, and everything is far better in most cases than the public sector. Then there is effective supervision in the private sector than the public sector. This is another reason why private sector does better than the public sector. There's a saying that people do what is inspected, not what is expected. And so in most cases, where there is proper supervision or effective supervision, workers give in the best effort towards the total output and profit maximization of their businesses or of their companies. So effective supervision in the private sector is another reason why the private sector is more efficient than the public sector. Then good work ethics. In the private sector, because employees enjoy good benefits and good working conditions, they put up good work ethics towards their work. And part is because of effective supervision. So they report to work early, they don't lazy on the job, they don't waste time working lotto and doing other things, they don't use working hours for personal things, but they do what has to be done on time in the right way. So good work ethics in the private sector contributes a lot to the private sector efficiency. Unlike in the public sector where people have the attitude of it is not my father's business, it is for the state. So they go and lazy about, they go to work late and close early, they use working hours for their personal rounds and personal businesses, all because there is not effective supervision and there are no better conditions of service that will give them any intrinsic or personal motivation. Then in the private sector, there is quick decision making. Unlike in the public sector where there is a long um, process of bureaucracy from the board chairman to the director to the manager to the this to the that to the that before you get things done. In the private sector, responsibility allocations and then um, leadership is well organized so that decision making is very quick, and so the best decisions are taken at the basic levels, and this helps to increase efficiency and productivity. Then another reason why private sector is more efficient than public sector is because it is profit oriented. Because it is profit oriented in nature, workers and managers are always aiming at increasing their profits, and so they keep working harder, keep producing more, keep doing the right thing to maximize their productivity so that they can gain more profit. But in the public sector, because it is more of producing essential goods at less cost, people have the attitude of, oh, after all, we are not going to gain anything extra for it. And these are the reasons why the private sector is more efficient than the public sector in Ghana. But should it be the case? No, in my own opinion, the public sector businesses should also be able to do better, because if the public sector is able to make more income or more profit, it goes into the consolidated fund, and this is used to develop our country. And so let's start thinking in this way. Let's not see public sector business as it's the government's work or it's the state's institution. Aban ejuma. No. But as we grow up into good adults, when we get into public sector business, let us do it with all our hearts and then help to increase the efficiency in the public sector so that Ghana will be a better place for us all to live and enjoy. Now, for private sector businesses to thrive and survive in Ghana, they need support from the state. What is the role of the state to promote private sector businesses? The government can help the growth and success of private businesses by doing the following: provide infrastructure. When we are living in a community where roads, light, water, and other social amenities are readily available, businesses can grow, expand, and develop. The government should also guarantee financial support for private sector businesses. When government is able to guarantee financial support for private sector businesses, people can take, or private people can take, flexible loans and grants that will help them expand their businesses and employ more citizens. This will help to reduce unemployment in our country. And also, the government should organize training programs for private businesses. It's another way the government can help to promote private sector business. And the states can also help advertise products and services of private businesses in abroad. So when our Ghanaian missions abroad are able to advertise the products and services of our private businesses in Ghana, it will help attract the interest of foreigners who can come and invest hugely into these private entities and will help private businesses to grow. Another way the state can promote private businesses is that they should sponsor trade missions abroad to go and learn and acquire skills that they can use to grow businesses in Ghana. And finally, the state must also provide appropriate legal policy environment and economic environment for businesses to thrive. So, um, the laws, the tax laws, the import and export policies, and the industrial policies of the state should be such that it is so conducive and so attractive to business people, and it is good for the development of businesses or private businesses. This will help to make private businesses thrive in Ghana. Tax waivers, reduction of import duties, and so many others that the government can do to promote private sector businesses. Yes, though the government needs to promote private sector businesses to ensure their continuous survival, private sector or private businesses also have a role they should play. You see, for the private sector to survive in continuous business depends greatly on their own efforts. The government can put all these measures in place, but if the business owners or the private businesses, private enterprises do not do the right thing, they will still not be able to survive. What are some of the right things they must do? Let me correct this quickly and then we'll move on. Excuse me. So the word here is guarantee. So guarantee continuity and relevance in the business environment. Then um, yeah, that is the word. Okay, let's move on. Private businesses must produce quality goods and services. When their products and services are not good, people will stop buying and the business will collapse. So to ensure continuous survival, they should produce good quality products and services. Then they should also sell at reasonable prices. Though private enterprises are profit oriented, it doesn't mean that they should sell at extremely high or exorbitant prices to make 100%, 200% profits. That may not be the best decision for them because when prices are too high, people may not buy and the business will collapse. So, to gain or to attract the love of the people, private businesses should sell at reasonable prices. Then, keeping proper business records is also very, very important. Private businesses should keep proper business records, especially um, business accounts, because when proper records are not kept, it may um, it may encourage theft and corruption, which may lead to bankruptcy and debt, and then finally the collapse of the business. And also, to ensure continuous state support and survival, private entities should pay their tax liabilities to the state. They should declare the right profits and pay the right amount of taxes to the state. Then, to ensure that to attract the love of the people, another thing private businesses should do is to engage in corporate social responsibilities, help the societies in which they operate, provide social amenities for their societies, provide health care, provide schools and supports, like some companies are doing. Malcolm Foundation, MTN Ghana Foundation, Vodafone Healthline, and so on. Most of these companies have corporate social responsibilities they engage in that makes them very attractive in society. And it is very important that they continue that way. We have learned a lot today, and to test your knowledge on what we have learned, I want you to answer the following questions. State two differences between state-owned and private businesses. Identify two things government should do to support private businesses. And then state two things the private sector should do. The private sector should do to ensure their survival. I wish you good luck. Stay safe and keep learning. Bye bye.